it's good that you point out. I mean, the fact that there are already processes in place, right? Because if we take your company and go back to 2015, 2016,
Yep.
all sorts of talk about issues with lepidolite, mica type things, whereas I started hearing things like the Chinese are trying to crack it and they've fixed it, or whatever that process may be. But I think from what you're saying is that that's not an issue anymore as opposed to before.
I think, so when the lithium market first started, you naturally gravitate to what's easiest to see and do, and that would have been green bushes and spodumene.
Yep.
So you want to produce lithium from hard rock, you've got to do what green bushes is doing. The knowledge of what was happening globally in the lithium sector was very limited. We didn't really, or people didn't really know what was happening in China. So that's one factor. The other two is back then there was no real demand on lithium. And so when there's no demand, there's no focus on cost structures and stuff like that. So in some cost curves they had lepidolite out at the far right side, but I think those forecasts were incredibly inaccurate. And with this increasing demand, there's been an increasing focus on extracting more from less, and so we see the cost structures start to tighten up and look better, and that's what's happening in China.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm one of those guys that thought, mica lithium is harder, etc., etc. But I think my views have changed dramatically over the last couple of years, where I started to hear. And especially after our first conversation, right? And I did some research into it, and it's probably one of the lithium products now, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah, there's not outside of China. So there's a lot of micas being processed in China. But if we look at our peer group ex-China, so we've got Lepidico with their project in Namibia. Their resource grade is 0.43. They're going down a hydromet path. And their DFS shows that they would be at the bottom of the cost curve at about $3,200 a tonne US on an all-in sustainable basis. And then we've got the Sinovac project in Czechoslovakia. I think their grade is around 0.6, very large but underground project, and they're under $5,000 a tonne. But it's a low-grade project with some tin and tungsten credits, if I recall correctly. So it can work. Sometimes I hear, I was actually talking to an investor several weeks ago, and out of the box, the comment was, we're only interested in tonnes and grade. And I had to explain that, there are some projects out there with the biggest tonnes in the world and the highest grades, but they're not the most economic because they're landlocked. So it's not about tonnes and grade, it's about geography, it's about what you can do with your product and your cost structure. And tonnes and grade are great. If we had, Greenbushes grades where we are in Thailand, it'd be fantastic, but we don't. But